welcome into Anita On The Rail, getting you ready each and every Saturday up in Saratoga for the big races, and probably none bigger. We've got a great one coming your way this Saturday, and that is the Whitney, race number 11, the 1 1/8 mile Whitney, 4-year-olds and up. Some really wonderful horses. This is a grade 1, the 98th running of for $1 million. And there's some really great horses that we're going to break down. Fierceness, Sierra Leone, just to name a few. We've got great guests joining us today on the program. As always, Ryan Anderson from America's Best Racing and Matt Bernier from NBC and FanDuel. We're going to break down the Whitney. We're going to break down the 4-Star Dave. We're going to break down the Test Stakes. So 3 really big races that are going to be front and center. Such a fun Saturday up there in Saratoga. Again, want to give a big shout out to America's Best Racing. We're collaborating with them, of course, on this program. And also this show brought to you by Henry Street Tap Room and Kindred in Saratoga. They're right next to each other on Henry Street. If you've been up to Saratoga, you need to, hopefully you know of these 2 establishments. If you haven't, you need to check them out. Kindred, a stellar wine list, outstanding crafted cocktails. Their food is amazing. Their chef is unbelievable. Also, flatbread night at Kindred on Wednesdays. Unique flatbread they offer every Wednesday at a discount. And they've got a beautiful, like, New York style vibe, outdoor patio. It's fantastic. And Henry Street Tap Room, literally some of the best beer you will find, of course, in Saratoga. High-end comfort food. Again, great staff. They have outside seating as well. So 2 phenomenal locations you need to check out when you are in Saratoga. And also New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc., the official authorized membership organization of the thoroughbred breeding industry in New York State. For more information, nytbreeders.org. And they're 2 huge sponsors for us. Like I said, we're going to break down the Whitney. We are here for you and with you each and every week to get you ready for that big Saturday afternoon up there in Saratoga. Next week, we'll be back for the Saratoga Oaks Invitational. We'll be here for the Alabama Travers, of course, coming your way on August 23rd, and Spinaway coming your way on August 30th. Without further ado, let's bring in our first guest to handicap the Whitney, and that is Ryan Anderson from ABR. All right, welcome in. We have Ryan Anderson, of course, from ABR, America's Best Racing. To break it all down, it is the Whitney, a very big day up in Saratoga Springs. I will be there. Ryan, I wish you were up there with me, but nonetheless, it is race 11, 1 1/8 mile. This is for the 4-year-olds and up. Post time for the 98th running is at 5:41 p.m. Eastern time for $1 million prize. How great is that? And there are quite a few horses that are getting a lot of buzz. Let's talk about one in particular, and this is the favorite. That's the 9-horse, Fierceness. Perfect record here on this track. Won the Jim Dandy, won the Travers last year, had somewhat of a leg issue in July, has one of the best trainers in Todd Pletcher. What can you tell us more about Fierceness and why this horse is favored?
Yeah, Fierceness is a very deserving favorite, and I think he just got the slight edge over Sierra Leone because of his run style. He's going to be forward in this race. He drew really nicely to the outside, and Johnny Velasquez, who's going to be aboard yet again, has been his regular rider and does a very, very good job at getting this horse where he's comfortable, which is to the outside of horses just off the speed. I think that's the exact trip he's going to sit again. He's going to be 3 wide around the racetrack, but this is the best horse. While 1 1/8 I think is right in his wheelhouse, I think I'm really looking forward to seeing this horse hopefully in the Jockey Club Gold Cup at the end of the Saratoga meet, but more importantly in the Breeders' Cup Classic. But very worthy of the morning line favorite, and is my top pick in this race because he is so talented, and I'm looking forward to seeing him get back to his winning ways after a weird effort last time out in the Met Mile on a wet track out of that Wilson chute. So I'm going to excuse that, and I'm looking forward to him bouncing back into the winner's circle Saturday.
Another horse getting a lot of love is the 5-horse Sierra Leone, searching for his first win in 3 starts for this calendar year, beaten by a nose at the Kentucky Derby last spring. Trainer is Chad Brown. Pratt will be on his back. What more can you tell us about the 5?
Sierra Leone is an excellent horse. He always runs his race. He always comes with that late run. He has a huge stride once he gets going. His issue is he needs the pace to set up for him. That's part of the reason why the number 8 Contrary Thinking is in the race, to kind of inject that pace and at least have an honest pace, so Sierra Leone has something to close into. While he's been fine at 1 mile and an eighth, he has 2 wins, 3 seconds, and a third from 6 tries at this distance. So he's never been out of the trifecta. He's a very reliable horse. He's actually never been out of the trifecta in his career. So he always runs his A race. He just needs that setup. I believe that he's going to get that in 1.25 miles. This race is at 1 mile and an eighth, so I will use him underneath, but I won't be using him on top.
And the 7 horse, White Abareo, more than $7 million in purse earnings for 22 starts. Really impressive. 10 of them, of course, have been wins. Won the Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup this year. Irad Ortiz Jr. will be his jockey. Tell us more about the 7, Ryan.
Yeah, they kind of dance every dance with this horse. He's run at 7 furlongs. He's running 1.25 miles. He's running a mile. He's running 1 mile and an eighth. He's run at every single distance, but he is best around 2 turns. He has not lost at a 2-turn distance since January of 2023, and he's had multiple attempts at it. So I'm really looking forward to him getting back around these 2 turns at Saratoga, where he has a win in this race 2 years ago in August of 2023 when he won the Whitney with a 110 Beyer speed figure. He's another horse that I think represents really nice value at 4-1. He's a horse that on his best day can run numbers competitive to Fierceness, competitive to Sierra Leone. You're going to get a nice price at 4-1 on this horse, White Abareo, Irad Ortiz, Safi Joseph.
And your thoughts on the 8 horse, Contrary Thinking? Some great lineage there as well, right? Into Mischief. Anything you like about the 8?
The reason you would like the 8 Contrary Thinking is if you want him in the race to help Sierra Leone. This horse can be fast early, which means he's going to push the pace. That's going to be mainly set by the number 4 Mama's Gold. Fierceness is going to be up on the pace as well. You have a horse like Highland Falls to the inside, who might be forced to use that inside post position to try and get some early position. So you want Contrary to Thinking to push the pace, and that's going to set things up for Sierra Leone. I don't necessarily think Contrary Thinking will be around towards the end of the race, even though he's bred to like that distance and bred to be very good. I think he's in really deep waters with some of the talented horses that we're going to see in the Whitney.
All right, with that being said, I always like to say, take us to the window, Ryan. How are you playing it? How are you playing the Whitney come Saturday late afternoon?
I'm going to play an exacta. It's going to be White Abareo, the 7, the number 9 Fierceness in first, and I'm going to use the number 10 Post Time in second. That's going to be my main play on Whitney Day this Saturday, because the number 10 Post Time, trained by Brittany Russell, ridden by her husband Sheldon Russell, this horse has never been out of the trifecta in 18 starts, has 11 wins, 3 seconds, 4 third place finishes. This horse runs his heart out every single time he steps on the track, regardless of distance, regardless of racetrack, regardless of surface. This horse always runs his A race. I want this horse to round out that exacta, and I will be using it, playing that exacta in the reverse way with Post Time on top as well, in case he finally gets that much needed and much deserved Grade 1 victory.
All right, fantastic. Now, again, it is Whitney Day. Big day at Saratoga Springs. So some other really great Grade 1 races. The 4-star Dave, it is race number 8, $750,000 prize. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, 4-star Dave is another very competitive race. The number 3, Johannes, is a horse that's coming back off of a December layoff, but this is one of the best turf routers in the country. He resides mainly out here on the West Coast, running at Santa Anita and Del Mar. I obviously love watching him run, but I'm happy he gets to travel out east, so you guys get to see the excellence that he brings. However, coming off of an over 180-day layoff, that's going to represent a real challenge for him. So I'm going to go to the number 4, Think Big. Those that are familiar with Saratoga know a horse by the name of Casa Creed, who had this similar move made a few years ago. That was a very prominent turf sprinter, as was Think Big, winning the Grade 2 Shakertown, the Grade 2 turf sprint, and then, falling a little short in the Grade 1 Jaipur at Saratoga after breaking slowly, stretched out to the mile last time in the Kelso, and came home with a really strong finish and managed to finish that race off at front, winning that race by an open length and galloping out really well as well. I think Big is going to take another step forward in this spot. Second time now trying the mile. I think the inner turf course, those tight turns, I think they really work to his advantage, and he's drawn really well in post 4, where I think he's going to save a lot of ground down, and he's going to come with that stellar kick last time. A big key in these mile races on turf is that final fraction. How fast did that horse come home? This horse came home in 22.4 seconds. That is the second fastest in this field, but the fastest among horses that I believe are really true win contenders.
As you know, New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc., big sponsors of our program, so we got to give a shout out, of course, to those New York bred horses out there, and there is one in this race, number 7, Spirit of St. Louis. Any shot here?
Absolutely, and when they say that it pays to be a New York bred, and New York breds start with an advantage, they aren't joking around. Spirit of St. Louis has earned almost $2 million in his career, a multiple Grade 1 winner, winning the Turf Classic most recently on May 3rd at Churchill Downs, going the mile and an eighth distance. A bit of a quirky horse, but he is back home where he's stabled for most of the year. He has 2 seconds and a first out of 4 tries go over the Saratoga turf. So he does enjoy it here. He's going to get his run. Manny Franco's in the saddle. He's been aboard for his last Grade 1 win, again coming at Churchill Downs. So I'm really a bit of a fuzzy, but I'm very interested. And 6-1 is extremely fair value on a horse that has certainly outclassed his New York bred competition and now belongs in these Grade 1 waters.
All right, another race I want to tee up for you, and let's talk about the ladies, and that is the Test Stake. That is race number 10, 3-year-old fillies, Grade 1, about $500,000 purse prize. Little Birdie told me to bet the favorite. 9 of the last 15 favorites have won this race, and only 2 placed worse than third. Quite a few ladies in this race that are getting a lot of buzz. Echo Sound, who's favorite, dominated the Victory Ride Stakes. Me and Molly McGee, confirmed front runner, because she's coming in with a ton of speed. And Ragtime, who definitely is a beautiful horse. With that being said, what's your play here? Who do you like in the test?
Echo Sound is a very nice filly who's coming into her own. She dominated the Victory Ride last time out over this track at Saratoga, where maybe she just really enjoys it and really calls this place home. Obviously, I'm going to be using her in all of my tickets as we go. I'm going to try. It's a very difficult race that should be noted as well. So while favorites have done really well, I'm going to lean in a little bit of a different direction. I'm going to go with the number 2 Kilwin. Coming out of the Leslie's Lady Stakes last time at Churchill Downs, that was her first time trying dirt, and she ran a really excellent race. She closed into a slow pace, going the 7 furlong distance that they'll be going in the test. And I think Kilwin deserves a really big look. Jose Ortiz is booked to ride. He has been having an excellent Saratoga meet. He's second in the rider standings behind his brother, Irad Ortiz, who we're all obviously very familiar with. So I'm going to take the number 2 Kilwin, but again, I'm going to use the 2 and the 6 Echo Sound in all of my tickets because they both deserve a strong look. And Ragtime down on the rail with the popular Kentucky Derby connections of Godolphin, Junior Alvarado, and Bill Mott. She's a perfect 2 for 2 to start her career. She's jumping into really, really deep waters here. Not saying she can't do it, but I think that 4-1 is just going to be a little low on the value that I would want for her. First time trying graded stakes company and Grade 1 even at that.
Again, before we let you go, Ryan, I just, again, want to give a shout out to some New York bred horses that will be hopefully strutting their stuff and maybe winning some of these races. Race number 1, a maiden special weight race. Whiskey Point is racing in that one. Any thoughts on New York bred Whiskey Point in race 1?
Yeah, that colt's by Yalpon, who's been off to an excellent start to his 2-year-old his stud career, I should say. This is a wildly difficult maiden special weight race to handicap. It is for the 2-year-olds. There is only 2 horses in the 2 horses entered in the race that have racing experience. I do think the 8 drew really well, being to the outside. Steve Asmussen is always really nice with his 2-year-olds. He's hitting at 43% so far to start this Saratoga meet. This colt's had some really strong works. Sean Bridgemahan is riding, who doesn't normally team up with Steve Asmussen, but a lot of jockeys are kind of pre-booked on other horses, and that's not to say Whiskey Point is without a shot. So I certainly think he'll be able to hold his own this weekend in what is a very, very competitive maiden special weight race.
And race number 4, an allowance race, the 1 horse, Twisted Filigree, 3-1 on the morning line, and trainer is George Weaver. Your thoughts on the 1 horse in race number 4?
George Weaver sends his string to Saratoga, and they come to play. They certainly fire big. This one won on the 5th of July in an optional claiming event. Entered back in the same conditions here. I can certainly see this one winning. Didn't get a lot of help from the post draw. This one has a lot of early speed. This is a 5.5 furlong turf sprint, and this race is filled with a lot of other speed. But I do think Twisted Filigree, if they use that speed from the inside post, maybe they can get clear early, and maybe they'll have enough to hang on late. Again, George Weaver's been off to an excellent start to the Saratoga meet, hitting at 23% from 22 starters, so I certainly think this one is in with a big shot, and he seems to like that Saratoga turf course as well.
Ryan, great stuff as always. Really do appreciate it. Again, wish that you were joining me up in Saratoga Springs on Saturday, but I'll definitely be playing all of your picks. Hopefully I will walk away a winner. I will let you know next week for our next week's show.
Yeah, please do. Good luck. I wish I was joining you as well, but I'll be out at Del Mar. I'll be watching all of the races without a doubt, but I'll be out at Del Mar enjoying their weekend there, but certainly paying attention closely to an excellent Whitney Day program out at Saratoga.
Fantastic. Hopefully we both enjoy our Saturdays. I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
NYTB membership is your inside track to the ultimate New York thoroughbred racing experience. Free race day entrance to Belmont, Saratoga, Aqueduct, and Finger Lakes. A liaison with NYS Breeding and Development Fund. A voice in Albany working with legislators to help support the New York breeding and racing industries. Along with tons of member benefits, discounts on services and publications, educational programs, and so much more. Join today at nytbreeders.org/membership.
All right, I want to take a moment to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, our advertisers for Anita on the Rail. One is Kindred, great flatbread night at Kindred on Wednesdays. Unique flatbread they offer with a discount, stellar wine list, outstanding handcrafted cocktails. Their food is amazing. The chef creates every dish from scratch. I'm telling you, this is one of the best places to visit when you're up in Saratoga. New York style ambiance, outside patio, terrific staff, and then right next door, Henry Street Tap Room, best beer list in Saratoga. High-end comfort food, terrific staff. This has been a Saratoga staple since 2012. They as well have an outdoor patio. The weather up in Saratoga has been just magnificent and is expected to be throughout the month of August. They've got a great cheese list, nothing like a little malt and mold together, and dollar oysters every Tuesday. So check out Kindred as well as Henry Street Tap Room and New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc., the official authorized membership organization of the thoroughbred breeding industry in New York State. No better time to breed in New York. With the current strength of New York bred programs, including equal purses for New York breds and open company horses on the NYRA circuit, starting with the New York bred 2-year-olds in 2026. For more information, including exclusive membership benefits and discounts for being an NYTB member, please visit nytbreeders.org/memberships. Also, they've got a lot of really great events coming your way. The New York Bred pre-sales barbecue on Thursday, August 7th, and the sale August 10th through 11th, and also the track VIP experience day on Friday, August 8th. For all this and more information in regard to the events that they have coming your way, go to nytbreeders.org/events. Without further ado, let's bring in Matt Bernier from NBC and FanDuel to break down, of all things, the Whitney. Welcome in Matt Bernier. You can see him on NBC, on FanDuel, one of the best in the business in handicapping, and definitely, man, I watch. I think you're so good at what you do. So anytime that you are on our program, man, we are blessed to have you. So Matt, thank you so much. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I appreciate the kind words, Anita. It's always nice to get a little bit of positive affirmation from time to time. When in this game, you get beat down a lot, so it's nice to hear some positivities, and hopefully it rolls into this weekend. Hopefully we can smoke out a winner or two at Saratoga.
Let's do it. I'm going to be there. I'm really excited. As you know, it is Whitney Day on Saturday, one of the biggest days for the season up there in Saratoga. So I'm pretty stoked about it. Race number 11. Post time will be at 5:41. As we know, it's 1 1/8 mile. Some really great 4-year-old horses that are going to be strutting their stuff. With that being said, how are you playing it? Who are the horses that you're eyeing?
Well, I think the story of the race begins with the fact that Mindframe isn't going to go, barring some sort of a last-second change-up. He would have been one of, if not the outright favorites. Mindframe's not going to go in this spot. So that still leaves you with a very, very good field. And arguably, this is just a preview of the Breeders' Cup Classic without the 3-year-olds. A horse that I've never been thrilled with, enamored with, however you want to say it. I've just never been the biggest fan. But Sierra Leone, this is finally, to me, the perfect opportunity. Now, he hasn't won very frequently throughout his career, but when he does win, he wins in a pretty big way. He won the Bluegrass as a 3-year-old, and we know he won last year's Breeders' Cup Classic. The problem with him, Anita, is he just doesn't have any speed early on. He's going to drop out the back, bide his time, and he needs a bit of a pace setup. And finally, I think the connections, everyone involved, Chad Brown, the ownership group, they kind of realize we need a rabbit, and we don't see that very often here in the United States, but it happens often over in Europe, where the same barn, same outfit, they enter a horse whose only job in the race is to go out there and run fast, and basically set the stage for the more fancied of the two, that being Sierra Leone. They've got a rabbit in here on Saturday afternoon. If he can't win Saturday with this setup, I don't know when you can trust him to do it again. I think he gets the job done in the Whitney, and as far as the connections are concerned, it would be on to Del Mar and hopefully a return to the Breeders' Cup, and hopefully you get to repeat as the Classic champion.
Yeah, you're right. You win here, you advance to the Breeders' Cup in November at Del Mar. So a lot at stake here, no pun intended. So take us to the window. Exactly how are you playing this race with Sierra Leone?
It seems like a bit of a Captain Obvious play in here, but I'm going to go back to the exacta from that Breeders' Cup Classic that we just talked about, where Sierra Leone got the pace set up he needed and was able to run down Fierceness. Fierceness is going to be one of the favorites in this race on Saturday. I think they're the two best horses in the race, and that's saying something when you've got the likes of Skippy Longstocking in here, you've got White Abarrio in here, Post Time is a very good horse, but I think they're the two best. I think Sierra Leone and Fierceness are kind of just another notch above everyone else that's going to run Saturday. So for me, it's a cold punch exacta. I'm not going to overthink this. Give me the 5 Sierra Leone over the 9 Fierceness. It's not going to pay a ton, but you know what? Sometimes you got to take what's given to you, and to me, that's kind of what this race boils down to, the two best horses.
It might not pay a ton, but I always say it's always great playing with house money, right?
Yes.
It's always great playing with house money. Let's take a look at the 4-star Dave. We just had Ryan Anderson on from ABR, and he's all about Think Big. This is a horse that's getting a lot of buzz. Is this the horse that you are fancying as well?
It is, and I respect Ryan's opinion, so that's news, that's music to my ears. I'm hopeful that the public doesn't quite fully buy in just yet, but I'll tell you what, this is a horse who, he was good on dirt, but he's gone to a different level on turf. And I think a lot of us, myself included, thought he was probably just going to be a really nice turf sprinter, a horse that wanted to go shorter distances on the grass. And it didn't work out in the Jaipur 2 starts back, got out of the gates a little bit slow, and it was a bit of a bog that he ran on. When they stretched him out in the Kelso, I was a bit surprised. I thought they'd just kind of stay the course. And not only did he win, but he overcame a little bit of adversity and still finished just as well going longer out at the mile distance as he has in those turf sprints. So Think Big, he kind of proved to me that he's not just sort of a one-trick pony. I think he's going to be able to handle the hiking class, and he's taking on some serious runners in this race on Saturday, most notably Johannes, who's coming off of a lengthy layoff, coming in from the West Coast for trainer Tim Yakteen. Think Big, he's 6-1 in the morning line. If you could sign me up for that right now, I'd be all in. I have a funny feeling he's a little closer to 9-2, but even that to me is playable. So it's all about Think Big for me.
Obviously, my dog agrees with you. So maybe playing Think Big to win, play, show could be a nice wager. Exactly how are you playing it? No pun intended.
So I'm going to play Think Big to win. I mentioned 9-2. That still seems like a playable number to me. I think if you run this race 100 times, he wins about 18 of them. So that translates to your 9-2 odds. In the event that he runs really well, but Johannes, coming off that layoff, is still just a little bit better than him, I'll play a saver exacta the other way, 3 on top of 4. So that way, maybe you're not getting the full soup to nuts on the 9-2, but the thought process would be if I can get somewhere around 4.5 to 1 on that exacta, you're punching one losing wager, you're getting about half of that. So a little bit better than 2 to 1 if Think Big were to win, or it comes in the other way. Johannes defeats Think Big.
Last but not least, let's talk about the ladies. The fillies strutting their stuff. 3-year-olds on the test stake. That is race number 10. Echo Sound, me and Molly McGee, Ragtime. There's a lot of fillies that are getting a lot of love and a lot of hype heading into this one. Who do you like in the test?
It truly is a fabulous race. I mean, it's a day of fabulous racing at Saratoga, but this race may actually be the best of the best, and that's saying something with the Whitney and the 4-Star Dave, among others, being run. You could make an argument for, I would say, you could probably go as far as to say 8 of the 8 runners. I would go 7. One of them I think is a little bit hard to make, but Echo Sound makes sense. Beauty Reigns is no slouch. Cash Call comes in for Bob Baffert. Might be 6, 7, 8 to 1 in a grade 1. That doesn't happen often. I'm going to go with the horse who, on figures, the speed figures that we use to determine how fast or slow a horse is, she's a little bit slow. But look forward to number 3. She's 8 to 1 on the morning line, going out for Michael McCarthy and Umberto Rispoli. That's the outfit that teams up aboard Journalism when he runs in those big races. She's done nothing wrong around 1 turn. When they have stretched her out to 2-turn races, she usually gets a little bit tired at the very end. The 3 times she's gone around 1 turn, she's won all of them. And they're doing it again here on Saturday. And the beauty of Look Forward, even if she becomes a bit of a wise guy playing here, she can't help but be a decent price with some of the other names in this spot. Ragtime is another one that's going to take a ton of money. So given the price, she does need to improve. But I think Look Forward somewhere in that 6, 7, 8 to 1 range. I want to take a shot with her again in the test.
I like it. Every time you're on with us, Matt, we really, really love it. Why don't you let the folks know where can they find you? More picks, more plays, more Matt Bernier.
More often than not, FanDuel TV 5 days a week. Sometimes the schedule is a little different than others. When I'm home during July and August, it's usually Monday through Friday, but you'll see me at plenty of the tracks throughout. And then NBC, my NBC coverage picks up again in October when we get to Keeneland, with all roads pointing to Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup again.
Fantastic. Great stuff as always. Enjoy your weekend.
Anita, thank you.
All right, I want to thank Matt as well as Ryan joining us on the program, doing a deep dive into, let's be honest, 3 of the biggest races coming your way up in Saratoga, the Whitney, the 4-Star Dave, and the Test Stakes. We've got you locked and loaded for all 3 races, which is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be up there in Saratoga. If you see me walking around in my cute little dress, not going to be wearing a hat, probably be walking around with an Aperol Spritz, please come up, say hello. Hopefully, let me know that you watch the show and you enjoy the show. That would be great. Really excited about this weekend. And just a reminder, again, thank you so much for watching the show, subscribing. Put in the comments. We want to hear, who do you think is going to win the Whitney, the 4-Star Dave, or the Test? We'd love to get your thoughts in regard to what horses you think are going to have a lot of success come Saturday. Before we end, again, I just want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Kindred, as well as Henry Street Tap Room up there in Saratoga. I'm going to be up there this weekend, like I said. You can guarantee that I'm going to be at both these establishments, at Kindred, drinking some great wine and eating some great flatbread, and at Henry Street Tap Room, drinking some good beer. And also New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc. We mentioned a few of the New York bred horses that are going to be strutting their stuff this Saturday as well. Keep an eye out for them. And for more information, nytbreeders.org. Again, thank you so much for watching, subscribing, all the things. Have a great weekend, and hopefully I'll see you up in Saratoga.